Join me today on our most epic adventure ever. First, we go into the woods and find some more Wisconsin morels and a nice mess of them. Next, I teach you the 5 reasons you can't find morels, plus bonus tips and all kinds of info. Then, with what we forage, which turns out to be backyard purple asparagus, ramps from my yard, and the morels, we make pasta primavera. And top secret, somewhere in the video, you are going to find out who the fig man is. Join me today. Howdy YouTube! We're back to check on those peewee morels we found about 5-6 days ago. During that time, however, we've had 4 90-degree days. So they're probably roasted or picked by someone else if they got big. But off we go. There's that lovely tree. Let's see what's happening over up in here. Oh, we gotta get way in here, and it's all green now. All green up in here. Ha ha! They have begun. There it is. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Be picking, be picking, be picking. Come to Tattooed Granny, my precious. My sweet precious. They're everywhere up in here. Finally the morels are coming. Finally. Perfect eating size in here. Small grays. They're delicious. We're getting a bunch. There's another one here. Spotted a nice one. Oh, 2 of them. Oh yeah. Here we are. Whew. Okay. The other one up in here. Look. Gorgeous. We've been looking just for a few minutes, and all my hard work finding these dead elm have paid off. Coming back a week later, we've already got a nice handful. It pays to really do your homework. Trapped by a stick, growing flat. So my method is to go really slow and squat and look. Look for this pattern. See the morel from here? This is what I mean. You're looking for a pattern through leaves and debris and stuff like that. And if you don't stop, squat and look, you're gonna miss half the morels. That's a good tip. This one's missing a little bit of his top. Still good eating. Fresh as a daisy. We are on our hands and knees. Same tree. Here's my new morel mushroom cam. Get down to their level, baby. Maybe you'll find some, maybe you won't. I see it, I see it. Oh yeah. Morel cam. Ugh. 3 sticks. This guy here is a wild velvet foot mushroom, the wild version of gnocchi that you buy in the store. Tasty eating. It's fruiting at the base of the elms. It really likes when temperatures drop to the cold. So we'll take this little guy too for a snack. Starting to get a nice mess of mushrooms. Definitely stay hydrated. I got more trees to go in this area that I've pre-scoped out. And if you go from scoped out patch to scoped out patch, when it's time to hunt, you'll get more mushrooms. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on. Let's go. Okay, YouTube. I tried to grab the chicken 2 times. It would come really close to me, like when I would call it, and then it would run. Luckily, a pickup truck came with City of Blank, where I am, on it, and I told the guy about the chicken and pointed her out because she was right there in the parking lot in the grass. So hopefully he'll be able to capture her or whatever. Had I caught her, I would have just taken her to one of the farms around here. Hopefully she'd have a nice life, because I'm a city girl and I don't think we're allowed any chickens. Okay, that's a chicken update. Peace. Here's another spring flower. It's not Spring Beauty, the name escapes me, but I'll put it over the picture. This second place is known for monster cottonwoods. Super huge. And lots of dead elm. There's a nice elm. And today we look for mushrooms. Oh, I see a couple off in the distance. Yeah. We are hitting them today, people. These are right out in the open. And nobody found them. We're gonna have to look all around for more. Although these might be it with that heat. Yum! They'll taste yummy tonight. See death up there. It's all the way down. That's an ash tree. Oh, too bad. A little early for the ash. Keep walking. This trail I call Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Lots of glass. Another little grouping of these massive cottonwoods. Just so freaking gorgeous. Look at the size of that. It's a double trunk. Holy cow. I'm like, looks like I'm in a fairy tale. They're so pretty. Look at them all. Whew. This one fruited tons for 2 years. Pretty sure it's over, but never hurts to check around. You might find 1 or 2 morels in the 3rd year after it dies. Take a little walk. What else are we going to do? Gorgeous area. All the bark coming off this wood. So, this is Tattooed Granny, and I'm about to tell you some of my tips why you're not finding morels, okay? I'm going to help improve you get more morels by basically using common sense, number 1. That should be rule number one, use common sense. Know the timing. The timing of the year is critical. It is dependent on soil temperatures for morels that are mycorrhizal with trees that fruit in the Midwest. Okay, if you're looking at a burn area or some mass fruiting in the fields, that's a different type of situation. But the timing is critical. About 4 inches into the soil, you want it about 53, 55 degrees. That's going to start the fruiting of your mushrooms, your morels. So the timing, key. Other signs that it's time in your area will be the flowering of certain spring ephemerals like dandelions, bloodroot, hepatica, tulips and daffodils, irises, bellwort, if you know what that is, trout lilies, spring beauties. Heat can bring them on a little early though, so definitely go back to the soil temperatures. You know, there's certain birds that migrate in your area. Learn what those are. Certain frogs call in the very beginning of spring. We get chorus frogs, that's a little early. And towards the end, when it's almost over, you get the trill of a American toad, a common toad, breeding. And in between, green frogs. If you see amphibians out, usually the moisture and humidity are great for mushrooms, morels in particular. And so I would definitely recommend looking for that. So get your timing straight. That would be my number one thing. And number two is identify the trees correctly that fruit morels. I have a video here on my channel, top 3 tree species that fruit morels in my experience in the Midwest. And Midwestern states are things like Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, probably Indiana, Ohio, probably even a little further south than that, but primarily those states, Iowa. So the dead American elm, number one. A lot of mushrooms fruit when it's freshly dead before the bark is completely peeled off. And it'll do that for a couple of years. Live white ash, live sycamore, fruit after the elm trees. They need just a little bit more heat, couple degrees. And they'll maybe fruit 2 or 3 if they're infected with the mycelium. Now, not every tree you find is going to have the mycelium and the morels that will come up from it. However, if you do find live trees that fruit morels, you can go back year after year. And if the conditions are right, the weather is right, you'll pick every year. Next tip, number 3, moisture. It's gotta rain. Morels don't like to be in the water, but they like moist, rich soil. That's why they favor a lot of trees that like the water. Elms and sycamore in particularly, you'll find on riverbanks a lot. So that's my 3rd tip. Why you're not finding morels, number 4, somebody already picked them. Somebody beat you to it. Somebody scoped out the trees in the winter, and by springtime and knew the signs, checked his temperature, and ran out and checked all the trees, and probably was a better hunter than you are. Okay, number 5, you don't slow down and stop and let your eyes focus on the mushrooms. That will bring you sorrow and despair. That's what that's going to bring you. So you definitely, see how I'm sitting here? If I found a dead elm and I maybe even see one mushroom, or I think it's going to have mushrooms, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to get eye level. I'm going to start poking around with my stick and let my eyes focus. Your eyes focus differently when you stop moving, and will notice the morel mushroom pattern, the pits for the mushroom. So definitely do not just keep walking. You're gonna miss them all. Also, when you find one, there's probably gonna be more. So don't just pick one and run off to the next adventure. I can't tell you how many times I found a mushroom stump and looked around that tree and I found a bunch of mushrooms, or maybe one or two, or none if the hunter was really good. Actually, if the hunter was really good, he wouldn't leave the stumps behind to let me know that's a fruiting tree. Oh, and don't mark your trees. Rookie mistake, putting a golf ball there. I see that, I'm like, oh great, that tree has produced. Thanks for letting me know. Now I'll remove that mark, remember the tree, and get your mushrooms. And here's another tip, just off the cuff. Make sure you know how to properly identify morel mushrooms. That is your responsibility. Even though you get tutorials from me, maybe other shroomers, you need to know how to identify morels yourself and be sure you are feeding them to your beloved family cooked and with 100% certainty of what they are. You definitely have to cook mushrooms from the wild. They've all evolved with some amount of toxins in them to upset your tummy otherwise. Now, with morel mushrooms, you found these today, right? You cut them in half. Here we go. Like this. This long way like this. And I want you to see that they are completely hollow, the cap joining into the stem hollow. These are actual pits, not waves, not ridges, not flaps. Pits. It's going to be blurry, but you know what? Get what I'm saying. There you go. So make sure you have a true morel. Cook it up properly, cook it well, and you're good to go. And my final bonus tip today. Why you're not finding morels? You haven't befriended a mentor. A mentor is critical. They will just boost the numbers of mushrooms you find almost overnight. One thing I do when I take somebody out is I'll scout ahead a little bit, and then when I find morels, I will call them over. I won't be standing by the mushrooms, and I will allow them to search until they find the morels. That helps train the brain to recognize the pattern. And if you've never found them before, that's kind of hard to do. That way they know what it looks like, what it smells like, where it grows along the roots, around the trees. Here's a secret tip. If you see an elm tree die, you know, they go up fluted like a vase and come out. All along that drip line of the wide edge there, of the branches that hang down, water drips. And sometimes mushrooms, the morels, will come up around there, as well as the roots. They have shallow roots, so they can come up along certain roots. So there you have it. That's why you're not finding morels. Some basic things. If you do your study, if you do your reconnaissance and walk enough and scope out enough trees, hike the trails, you will find tons of mushrooms. Here's a freshly dead one for us. And I've spied one morel so far. Beautiful. Dark one. Look at that. Gonna taste good in my pasta primavera tonight. If my dad's up, I'm gonna cook for him. 85 plus years old. He still uses a push mower in the backyard. And for you young folks, it has no power. You have to push it. Cutting the grass. Here's Mr. Number 2. Let's get a full-on morel cam shot. Get all this out of the way. Ooh, he's got a little guy on him. Weird. We call this a freak. There's my little freak. Practice your twirling for me. It's just a useless hobby. Looks good. We're gonna check Remember to check where you've been sitting, because you might find another mushroom. And I did. What would pasta primavera be without red pepper flakes, garlic, and olive oil? That's in here too. Pick it up. Pasta butter. There it is, my own creation, cacio e pepe and pasta primavera with morels and all those luscious ingredients I showed you earlier. Oh yeah. Super good. Here's the Fig Man, and I'm part of the Fig Man Mafia. How'd you get the Fig Man name? Do you remember?
No.
You were out in the backyard by the fig tree, and you had a medical mask on, and I said pull it down so I could take a picture, and you scowled at me.
Oh, yeah.
And so then in Photoshop I put sunglasses and a cigarette in your mouth of undisclosed origin. Yeah, that's Loki. And kids don't smoke. We're about to have some wine from Wild Hills Winery from out in Muscadet, and they grow the grapes in Wisconsin.
Oh, good, good.
So this is my 85-year-old father who still uses a push mower, everybody.
Yeah.
Chin chin, Dad.
All right, there
Let's
you
see
go.
how it is. Take a sip.
Yeah.
Yummy, hey? Mm.
My wine, what I grew, is better than this.
My dad is a vintner. Okay, well, we're going to go in the house and eat our delicious pasta now.
Okay.
I made you a plate. I love you.
Cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, nah,